I've got another one for
Let's
that.
go.
Yeah,
Let's
what
go.
implications
Let's go.
have that?
We had to pay a tariff on fertilizer coming out of Russia, where like some huge percentage of the fertilizer comes. Well, Trudeau slapped a tariff on it, even though no one else in the G7 was, and the UN was like, maybe we shouldn't do that. It's to the tune of like $35 million. And there was groups like Grain Farmers of Ontario and Atlantic Grains Council and some of them lobbying the government to get it sent back. And they're sending that to the Federal Minister of Agriculture. And it was going through the House. And last I heard, Trudeau's like, we're probably going to send it to Ukraine, though. $35 million. That was part of the reason your food's now more expensive.
And the farmers don't get it?
Because fertilizer is twice the price it was 2 years ago. And you need it to grow food.
True.
Because if not, you deplete your soils and then they're unhealthy.
It's interesting we were talking about fertilizer because on another episode we talked about the fertilizer debacle.
That was how I found you.
Yeah,
I was misled.
We talked about the fertilizer stuff, and so what I'm really picking up on is for some reason it appears that the government is trying to make farmers look a type of way.
So we've gone to a lot of conferences lately where a lot of political people are talking, or they're like, oh no, we don't really want you to decrease your fertilizer use, like all the other countries that put similar things in now want their people to do. They want to minimize nitrous oxide emissions. So they want us to use urease inhibitors and protected nitrogen so that when you're putting the nitrogen down, it's actually staying in the soil and not leaching out. So even with manure, if you incorporate manure into the soil, you're hanging on to like 75% of the nitrogen, whereas if you just put it on top, you're only getting like 40%. In some cases, that's not able to be done. In some cases, there's no-till farmers because no one wants us to plow anymore, so they can't incorporate it. Just things like that. So they want to decrease the nitrous oxide emissions, so they came out with this On-Farm Climate Action Fund program, where they're giving funding, and in every province there's a different group distributing it. And you can apply for different funds for like the price difference between a regular nitrogen fertilizer and the enhanced product that's going to keep the nitrogen. They'll pay for the different, like 75% of the difference once per field if you've never used it on that field. And like on one hand, I get it. There's not like an unlimited amount of money. Like we can't just pay this forever.
Of course.
But if you're only paying for me to put that on, so I can only apply once for one field, if I put that on the same field for 10 years and sequester the same amount of stuff and prevent the same amount of nitrous oxide leaching, you're only gathering the data from that one time I applied it. So we're substantially doing a better job than they're going to be gathering from, And it all has to go in. And like, it is a good thing. It's something. It's better than nothing.
Of course.
But I feel like it could have been
a little more fair.
100%. I mean, like I remember all the stuff obviously what gained the headlines through that whole thing was all the stuff that was coming out of Saskatchewan.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then measuring the levels and this, that, the other.
I love Saskatchewan.
I can imagine just because their provincial government's actually protecting their farmers.
Yeah, I was there this summer for a wedding. I was talking to some guys there about it, and they were like, yeah, we don't care. The government's going to protect us. I was like, oh.
What's that like?
I was like, do you have room for me and some cows? Build a barn in one of your fields?
No, because you got to stay on that 1,000 acres.
Yeah, you can never leave.
Trapped.
Yeah.
Is our government, our provincial government, the Houston government, doing anything for y'all, or are they too scared and just want to play ball with the federal government?
I can't decide because this was all kind of happening and they didn't really have a say in it because it's federal.
Yeah. Because one provincial is a bold stance for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying is like someone's standing up for the people.